Hello and welcome to the Punters Lounge podcast. We're going to look at day 4 of Royal Ascot. We've got 2 Group 1s to look forward to on the card. I'm joined by Stephen Simmons, who is also known as the Brigadier on the Punters Lounge forum. We're going to start by looking at one of the Group 1s. It's the Commonwealth Cup 3-year-old sprint over 6 furlongs. And of course, we have to mention, and we have to start with, Little Big Bear. Hugely disappointing, finished last in the 2,000 guineas, but bounced back at Haydock last time in the Sandy Lane Stakes. However, there was a big draw bias on that occasion.
Yes, there was. Saying that, he was the best 2-year-old around last year, and he's very speedy. He had excuses for the 2,000 guineas defeat, where he got he run into another horse. Yeah, there was a draw bias that day, Darren, but he was still very impressive, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So I think whatever beats him here will take a lot of beating. He's got an official mark of 124, which is £11 higher than anything else in the race. So basically, he could run below par and still beat these if the official ratings are right. But is he any value at around 13.08? No, I don't really think so. So
I saw Harry Finley talking on another podcast about this horse, and he reckons that Cornwall think it's almost a cert, and that he thinks that it's going to go off possibly even odds.
But it's quite possible that's the way the lads, as they call themselves, like to play,
exactly.
isn't it? So if they get stuck into it, you've got of the opposition, you've got Sack here, who was 7th in the 2,000 guineas. Has always looked about speed. There was no surprise that he didn't really get home over a mile in the 2,000. Shaquille, Julie Camacho, it's supposed to be lovely for a smaller trainer like her to actually take one of these. Did it very well at Newbury from the front, burst the bubble of Noble Style. It looks like he's going to reoppose here. One horse I think could run well is Lazoo, the Rafe Beckett horse. Again, she didn't stay in the 1,000 guineas. She was a smart sprinting 2-year-old. She's £10 behind Little Big Bear. But she may have some improvement to come, but it is all about the favourite, realistically. It's going to be very popular.
I mean, what you're probably going to see, I mean, the Maxfield, well, we're looking at around about 16 runners possibly. I mean, you're going to there's every chance you're going to get an extra place. So you could back a horse like the Zoo each way at 10-1, as she is at the moment. And, it's probably not a bad each way place. It's got one of those looks to it, hasn't it? You've got short price favourites. Sakir's not too far behind it in the betting, and then you double figures the rest.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's one horse here at a very big price, which looks overpriced to me, and I'll make the case for him. And this is Mischief Magic. Won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Sprint last year, beat Dramatised, and we know what that's come out and done this year. It's flopped first time out this season in the Ascot trial for this race, but it was good to soft ground that day, and that was the excuse from the connections afterwards. And I think the interesting fact here is Noble Style was in the race, obviously the same stable as Mischief Magic, and at the moment, William Buick is on Mischief Magic, which is 25-1, and Noble Style's 10. Now, surely Mr. Buick would have had the pick. I'm not saying he'll win. I don't think he'll trouble the favourite, but 25-1 just looks too big to me. You could start half those odds with, an Appleby and Buick runner in the big sprint.
You certainly could. Well, we're going to take a look at the other Group 1 on the card, which is the Coronation Stakes. Over the mile for the 3-year-old fillies, and here we see that we've got the 2,000 guineas winners, haven't we? We've got Marge and we've got Tahira facing each other again. Obviously, they were first and second at Newmarket. Then the Dermot Weld trained filly went over to the Curragh and won the Irish 1,000 guineas. And she's much shorter in the betting. She's one of the other odds-on favourites of the week, and Marge is around about 100-30. Can you see the form from Newmarket being reversed? That's certainly what the betting is suggesting.
I can definitely see it being reversed, Darren. I believe that Marge has had a few issues. I think that's why since the 1,000 guineas, she's quite a delicate filly. And she has missed work, I'm told. And I think that's why there's been money over the last few days or last week for the Weld horse Tahira. I mean, strictly on that run, you used to say, well, how can it be 4-6 Tahira, 3-1 Marge? But I think the fact that Tahira probably wasn't 100% straight for our 1,000, and the fact that Marge has apparently missed a bit of work, quite quite a delicate filly she is to train. They train her sort of day by day, I'm told, at the moment. So that doesn't augur well, does it? So
No.
I think it's a match between them, and I think the Wells horse Tahira wins.
Obviously, we're going to see very different, or likely to see very different ground. It was pretty testing at Newmarket, wasn't it?
Was, yeah, exactly. But yeah, I don't think it will bother either of them, to be honest. I think both of them have shown they go on both types of ground. So, and it does look a match to me. I mean, I like the John and Fady Gosden runner, Queen for You. I thought that was an eye-catching run last time at York. Rab Havlin's been booked, but official ratings have her £18 behind the two principals, who were both rated the same. And then you bring in the Aidan O'Brien runner, Mediate, but she has a little bit to find, doesn't she, with Tahira? Yeah. She, not got too much to find, mind you, and she was a very good 2-year-old, but she's been put in her place now. I think it's 3 times by Tahira. So, yeah, Tahira would be a confident selection for me.
I mean, I mean, Meditate was obviously well behind the pair at Newmarket, and then obviously narrowed the gap on Tahira at the Curragh. But I mean, still, you're sort of thinking, well, where's the improvement suddenly going to come from? She's had quite a few runs already, looking fairly exposed, and Tahira's only had the 4 starts. So you'd imagine there should be more to come.
You would have thought so, and I just remember last year at the Curragh in September in the big Group 1 that day, Tahira easily beat Mediate, went past her like she was just standing there, and she's beaten her twice since. So I think it would be a shock if Mediate managed to turn the tables, to be honest.
Right, let's now focus on the 2-year-old fillies, the Albany Stakes, Group 3 over 6 furlongs. And again, we're looking at lots of unexposed fillies here, quite a few that have won once and won on that occasion. There's 1 or 2 that have run more than that. But at the moment, Carla's Way for the Crisfords is heading in the betting with a Doncaster maiden by 2 1/4 lengths on debut back on the 3rd of June.
Yes, I mean, she looked smart that day. Beating Star of Mystery, but she's priced at 3 to 1. I'll be looking for a little bit more value than that in a race like the Albany, where 27 have declared. So we're going to get a big field here. She does look quite useful. There's one I do like here. I like the Michael O'Callaghan horse, the Irish Raider, Navassa Island. Now this horse ran in a Group 3 first time out on her debut, unfancied at 14 to 1. And if you get a chance to go back and watch this race, it was an eye-catching run, to say the least. She was off the bridle after 2 furlongs, but absolutely flew home and only went down by a short margin to Porta Fortuna of Donica O'Brien, who's only 8 to 1 for the Queen Mary. That was 6 furlongs, good ground. And I know
sorry, Porta Fortuna's also entered in this. I actually jocked up. Frankie Dettori has been jocked up in this. So they could reoppose again.
They could, and I would back Navassa Island. If you go and watch the race, you'd think, well, I'd back the second any time to beat the winner. And I saw an interview with Michael O'Callaghan over the weekend, and he was very bullish about her chances. He says he's not going to have many runners at Royal Ascot. I think she's great value. Hills are a standout 8 to 1 at the moment. I think that's great each way value in the race. You've got other horses there, beautiful diamonds in there. I think that's down to run the Queen Mary. That won't be running. As you say, Porta Fortuna, we just talked about. Roger Varian's got a very nice runner there called Jabaro, and I know they do like this horse. That was a very easy 3/4 length winner at Newmarket on her debut. That can improve, obviously. The Varian horses have just been a little bit in and out of the last couple of weeks, and that would be an issue with me, But I'm quite keen on the Navassa Island there each way. I think that was a hell of a run for a debutant to run in the Group 3 first time out and nearly snatch it. I thought that was a great run. So she'll do for me a nice price.
No, you mentioned Roger Varian. We're going to move on to the King Edward VII Stakes. Obviously known as the Ascot Derby. And we've got the Derby second, King of Steel for Roger Varian and Kevin Stott. Obviously a huge run at Epsom. Looked like it was possibly going to win for a fairway, but August Rodin. Yeah, August Rodin come and nabbed him quite late on, winning by half a length in the end. And obviously Roger said that all systems go for Royal Ascot this week. I mean, horses that are running the Derby don't have a great record in this race, do they?
No. I, I think if you put the Derby winner, August Road, in this race, Darren, what price would it be?
I mean, it's obviously going to be long odds.
I always look like, it's just half a length behind it. So, I mean, you'd be looking at a 1 to 2 chance, wouldn't we? So maybe 13.08, 7 to 4 might be a bit of a steal here. It's £11 clear of the field on time form, and officially it's £10 clear of the field. And it's got horses like Arrest, Military Order that were all behind him at Epsom. And you could argue that was his first run of the season because he didn't go in the stalls for the Dante, did he? No. So maybe there's more improvement to come.
I guess the other way we could look at it is, could he bounce?
Well, absolutely,
because it's such a huge effort. And how many? Well, 20 days, so about 3 weeks, which is still quite a short space of time.
And he did have a hard race. It was the Derby, and he got there probably well. Kevin Stott thought he got there too early. I thought it was a great ride he gave him, but no, he's definitely the one to beat, isn't he?
Of course, if he runs up to his Derby form, there's only one winner, isn't there? Essentially,
he wins, yes.
So if you're looking elsewhere, it's got to be, well, he's going to underperform for whatever reason. He could bounce, just not run up to that mark. So who would be posed to take advantage should he run below par?
Should he not run up to his form? I'd probably go with Castle Way of Charlie Appleby's. Needs to step up, but I know the stable like him an awful lot. He won a listed race last time out from Circle of Fire, who was also in here, and he's actually shorter in the betting. I don't understand that, to be honest. But I know the yard like him. Castle Way, he's improving. I think if the favourite is to get turned over, that would be the one for me. I mean, he's jockeyed up with William Buick. There's no jockey down for Military Order, so I presume he won't be going. You've also got Arrest in there. I think Arrest is ground dependent. I think that's what the Derby proved there.
Yeah.
So impressive at Chester in the mud and just didn't perform. Derby, did he? So
no.
But no, if I was going for one Buick,
a mile and a half, and at the moment, again, this is wide open, and the draw is going to be crucial. We're looking at 8 to 1 the field at the moment. Out on the Fear, Peace Man, and to Messias Fox, I think is how you pronounce it.
Yes.
All of them won on their last starts, although Out on the Fear hasn't been seen yet this season.
No, I can. They're very keen on this, the Appleby people, that I've been told. I mean, as you say, we've not seen him since he won at Newmarket in October. It's gone up £10 for that, and he's been gelded. But Buick's on board, and I do keep hearing whispers that they do like this horse a lot. I mean, he's 8 to 1 in places at the moment. I think that's going to shorten, Darren, and I'll tell you why. Peace Man, you mentioned earlier, won a Windsor handicap last time for the Gosdens. This horse is number 42 of 59 here. Only 19 can run. He won't get in. Likewise, Real Dream, another 8 to 1 chance. He's number 47 of 59. No chance of those two won't get in the run.
No.
Nagano, I do know is fancied for Roger Barron's, but this one hasn't been seen for 664 days. So that would be a training performance of all time if that could come and win. So I think we're going to lose a lot of the front ones are going to lose. So I would suggest if you can get any 8 to 1, I would be taking that Out on the Fear. It's going to run. Mr. Buick's on board, and they do like the horse a lot. So Out on the Fear for me there.
Now we mentioned the draw a lot again, a mile and a half. Now clearly in the past this race used to allow more runners because we've had a horse drawn in 21 win the race in the last 10 years, but every single winner in the last 10 years has had a double figure draw. Last year 18, the year before 19. There's a couple of other 19s in the last 10 years. If he is drawn high, if he gets a double figure draw, I mean his price is going to contract massively, isn't it?
Absolutely.
It's a huge advantage. Whereas if he's drawn in 1, he might well go the other way.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah, so maybe we have to wait until we see the draw. But I think I would suggest taking now the 8 to 1 to half of your normal stake.
Yeah.
And then maybe top it up or to sit with it if it's. But I can just see it shortening this one because as we've said, there's going to be quite a few of those front ones won't get in because only 19 can run.
Yeah. I mean, it's almost. So, I mean, I know obviously horse racing is all about gambling, but it's almost worth taking the gamble that he does get a high draw. And because like you say, if he does shorten, then you've got to bet. And I guess there's always exceptions to the rule, and at some stage, probably something drawn low is going to win. And if he happens to be above average, then he might get away with a low figure draw anyway.
Yes.
But that's again, as I pointed out earlier on in the other podcast that we've recorded, no doubt trainers will come out and say, we're drawn low, and that's a massive advantage. It isn't.
Yeah.
You need to be drawn, or more than likely, you need to be drawn high in this race. As the history bears that out.
Yeah.
Right, we'll move on to the next race to look at, which is hang on, just bear with me 1 second because all the races are all over the place. We are going to look at the Sandringham next.
Yeah.
Again, a fillies handicap for 3-year-olds over the mile, and this is going to be ultra competitive again. 53 currently entered. Obviously, anything that catches your eye?
There'd be a really tough race. The horse that catches my eye at the moment is the Aidan O'Brien horse that's jockeyed up with Ryan Moore, Jackie O. I mean, this is a horse that ran in the Irish 1,000 guineas last time and finished 5th to Tahira. This is its first handicap off of 102. I mean, that actually might be well handicapped, you know. I mean, it's got some future Group 1 in. It was actually entered in the Coronation Stakes against Tahira today, well on that day. Obviously, it's perhaps not up to that standard. But just into a handicap after a 5th in a classic, I thought that was an interesting runner. You know, you've got Coppice there as well. Frankie Dettori has been booked. That's the other one, the favourite at the moment for the Gosdens. She could be nicely treated off a 97. But at the moment, it's a tough contest. There's nothing really that stood out. Maybe just the Aidan O'Brien runner. The fact that it's jockeyed up, and you know, it's quite rare for Aidan to have a runner in a handicap at the Royal Meeting. But he obviously thinks he's got some leverage there.
It doesn't get any easier. We're going to look at the Palace of Holyrood Stakes next.
Yeah.
I mean, again, this looks tough. Conquistador for George Bury is heading in the market after a couple of weeks, or one on Boxing Day at Wolverhampton, then at Linfield last time. But that was back in March, so has been off the track for a while. Can he show that all-weather form on the straight course at Ascot?
Well, he's George Bowie, so George, you know, he's a terrific trainer, and the fact there's been money for him over the last few days, you know, I'm not sure what
like
price.
A punt, don't they? That yard.
They certainly do, and it all blew up yesterday when I was looking at these meetings. And so, never say never, but there's going to be 28 runners. I find this one of the hardest races of the whole meeting, to be honest. You know, these 3-year-old sprinters. You know, not a race for me at the moment, Darren. But I dare say I'll find something. Quinault's an interesting runner that won the Macmillan race on Saturday.
I think he's come out and said he's unlikely to run.
Oh, okay.
Williams, I've seen a quote from him saying I think he put it on Twitter. If you're looking at backing him anti-post, he is unlikely to run. But I mean, we'll just touch on it very briefly because what a training performance this is. And he really had to tough it out on Saturday as well to beat Washington Heights again. I mean, Washington Heights must be one of the most unluckiest horses in training at the moment because he's bumped into that one twice, and it's Shaquille, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
I mean, he deserves to He deserves to win a race at some stage. But great training performance so far.
Very good.
Year.
Very capable trainer, Stuart Williams.
So a tricky race to hand on, another tricky handicap. But your best bet on day 4.
I'm going to go for the first race, the Albany Stakes, and that Michael O'Callaghan horse, Navassa Island.
Yeah, you're very keen. I can tell you're very keen on that.
Yeah, I do like. I just, you know, from what I saw in the Group 3, the way it finished, I think if you get the chance, anyone, go and have a look at the race, and you'll think, wow, yes, I'll be backing her next time. So Navassa Island each way.
We'll get the nap out nice and early on day 4 of Royal Ascot.